I like this. We're starting the live looking at the tree. It's perfect because trees help me thrive. Hi, Shay. Welcome. Let's see. Are you there, Shay? Hi, Veronica. Hey, you there?
Hello there. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. It works.
Oh,
Well,
it's
I
awesome.
just want to welcome you here. My name's Elaine Friend. For those of you who don't know me, I'm part of Are You Highly Sensitive? It's my baby that I started, and I am in Arizona this week with my dear friend Shay Youngblood, and I'm so happy that you're here.
Oh,
So I invited
I'm
her to jump on.
I'm excited. I'm really excited. I have been following your IG and keeping up with what's going on, but I this is the first opportunity I've had to jump in and join. So I'm really excited about that. And
Well, we're here today to talk about thriving. And Shay, can you just introduce yourself? Tell us what you'd like us to know about you, since it's a special
uh, I'm
treat to have you here.
I'm Shay Youngblood. I'm a writer, author. I write novels, plays. I wrote two children's books recently, and I'm a visual artist as well. I'm an avid reader, so I can't wait to hear also about your book club that's coming. So I can't wait to hear about that as well. And
Oh,
also
that's right.
in terms of thriving, can't wait to hear about that as well.
Well, the title of this live is "Are You Ready to Thrive?" And I think that we all are living in this world where it's our tendency to maybe do a little too much and to start to feel like we're not thriving. How's this? A little bit better background here. Um, and so I just wanted to hear from everyone here. Please tell us in the comments, or you can hit the little question button at the bottom if you would like to, and ask us a question or tell us something about how you are thriving or not thriving. I'm on this kick this year, well, for the past 6 months, I would say, about how motion is the lotion. Move it or lose it. I know that the more I move, the more I thrive. Now, maybe it's just my age, but I just get so stuck in my body, in pain. I get stuck in my emotions. I get stuck in my anxiety. I just can get so stuck in so many places when I don't move. And so my theme at the moment is about movement for thriving. And I'm just curious from everyone here, and you too, Shay, how do you take care of your body, your emotions, your mind? I know you're so careful about that.
Oh, I will jump in because as a writer, a lot of people often assume that I have so much confidence that I sit down and I just start writing and I, just toss off poems and, plays like nobody's business. But to get there, I have to, I have to kind of get not just get in the mood, but one of the things I do to kind of get my creative juices flowing is to take a walk around the block. And often that will unblock me. And I try to take a walk around the block where I don't have to watch for potholes or bikers and things like that, so that I can just really be with my thoughts. And I take pencil and paper with me and take down notes. So movement does really help me a lot. And sometimes I just forget to do it.
Yeah.
I get downstairs and I, just kind of don't really go outside or move around a lot. But once I move, it really does help. I'm breathing deeper, right? And so more oxygen to my brain. And that's the thing that helps me thrive.
Let's just all breathe together for a minute now. When you said that, it reminded me to take a nice slow breath in and out through my nose, and that does change our heart rate and everything. And I know, Shay, actually, when you were talking about your self-care as a writer, it made me think about, in all the classes I've taken with you, how you often make us draw, and how, we're moving things. It's like it moves you through stuck places. It's another kind of movement, truly. And before you address that, let me just say, everyone who's seeing this, I would love to hear, how do you get moving? What does it mean to you to move? Does it help? Does it make you want to do more? So what is it about the drawing that changes your brain when you're trying to write, Shay?
I think it's using a different part of your brain. So, as I mentioned at the top, I write all kinds of things and I also make things. And
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm not as good at making things as I am at writing.
Right.
But what happens is when I'm making things, there's another part of my brain that's working. When I'm drawing things, there's another part of my brain that's working. That's while, it's like giving the part that I need to finish this essay a little bit of a break,
Yeah.
but my brain is still working. It's still thinking about how to address the issue or the problem,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
which makes me stuck. And so I make these beaded prayer bags. I used to make dream pillows for my friends. And when I'm sewing or when I'm drawing, there's another part of my brain that's working at the same time. And sometimes I
Mhm.
come up with some really great drawings. And that's another thing I do too when I'm, trying to think when I have an issue or when I want to, kind of get unstuck in my personal life even. I will, writing helps you get you unstuck. It's like, you put it on the page or the drawing. Actually, let me go back to the drawing. I will draw out scenes from something that
Mhm.
I'm working on. I
Mhm.
will also draw um, as my journals, just, using drawing what I saw today. Like, it brings it back to me in a different way. So
Interesting.
yeah, it really
Interesting.
does help me to kind of it it's like it's like using my left hand.
Right.
And so
Right.
when I come back to my right hand, it's sharper and I can write, it's like, oh, I really appreciate using this right hand now.
Oh,
I know what I'm doing here.
totally. That
But when I
works for
use the
me.
left hand, I don't know what I'm doing. And but I'm still moving it. And so that I think if that does that make sense to you?
Yes. Do you see this comment? Every time I
Oh,
perform Maggie's monologue from Shaking the Mess Out of Misery, I get a call back. Oh, that is so
uh,
awesome. So, Shaking the Mess Out of Misery is Shay's play, one of Shay's plays, and it's performed all over the country. It seems like there's always one, at least one production going on.
oh,
Here
Ebony, that's
comes a
so
little
sweet.
dog going by. This little one's getting their walk. Can you see him? It's a fierce little watchdog. So, I love that. Do you want
Oh,
to say
that's
anything to her?
Yeah. Hey, Ebony, I think that's wonderful. And it's amazing to me. I think that was one of the plays that I certainly channeled when I was a younger, in my 20s. I wrote that play about my, growing up with these 8 mothers and about my big mamas. And what happened is that all these women, have grown up with it now. It's like there's another generation that are playing,
Sweet.
daughter and big mama, which I love. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I really appreciate that it's still being out in the world, that it's being performed and people are passing it along. So thank you for that.
And little known fact, maybe, I don't know, maybe in this crowd it's a well known fact, but Shay wrote a children's book based on the Big Mamas. And just tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll talk about my book club.
Okay. Okay, Mama's Home. I wrote a couple years ago. I was asked if I had any children's books in me. It's like, yes, I got all kinds of things. And I uh, decided that I would go back to that moment of growing up with all these different women who gave me different points, different perspectives. It's about a little brown girl who spends time with all her big mamas when her birth mother has to go away to work or she has to leave town, and she is left in the care of a different big mama every day of the week. And at the end of the week, her mama comes home and they have a big family feast. And she gets to sleep in her own little bed in her own little room. But she has all these ideas about the different kinds of things that she can do and be a pilot, a singer, and it's because all these women gave her the opportunity to see, different ways of being in the world. So Mama's Home is out there and A Family Prayer. So 2 children's books out there in the world for you.
And I love Mama's Home because it really, you spoke to what it takes to raise a resilient child in this world. And I work a lot with sensitive youth and parents who are raising kids. And so I read Mama's Home on YouTube. And I think when me and my assistants here, you could put the link to that if people want to check it out. And then you can have a good feel for it. And then you can go buy the book for your family.
Yeah.
So, book club, books. I
Yay.
just talked Shay into joining our book club, and it's starting on February 8th. And I'm going to be jumping on Instagram Live a few times just to talk about what it means for me to have movement in my life. So we're talking about, moving your brain, moving your heart and soul and body as well. And I ran across this book through my own healing work, being healed by physical therapists and different. I see a lot of different kinds of people because I have a lot of aches and pains, and I'm an old cowgirl, so I've used my body hard, and then the genetics too. So anyway, this book is called Built to Move that we're doing for book club, and I've read it 3 times. Actually, I've listened to the audiobook 3 times and looked through the paper book, and I have decided that we all need to read this book. It's by the Starretts. They're a couple, and one of them's a physical therapist, and they've done a lot of training of professional athletes, but they also work with everybody. Like, you don't have kids, seniors. So when I talk about the book club, I say, do you think you're too fit, too old, too injured, too out of shape, too anything to do this book club and to study this book? You're not, because their practices, so there's 10 well-being practices. It's going to be 5 weeks. We're going to talk about 2 chapters or 2 practices each week. And all I'm asking you to do is to show up and to try one of the many options. So in those 2 chapters, you will come up with 20 different possible things that you can do. For example, one of the well-being practices is sitting and limiting your sitting to 6 hours a day, Shay.
Okay, it'll be hard, but okay, I can try.
It's hard. And they say if you have to sit 6 or more hours a day, that what's important is that you get up a lot in the middle, that you move, that you don't stay stuck. And I don't know about you, but I'm also doing a lot of work on the computer, and I just get glued into the screen and I don't move sometimes for hours. In fact, I have a friend who's also another writer, and we have a writing group that meets Monday through Friday mornings, pretty early, 7 or 8 a.m. Pacific time, and so then not so early for the East Coast timers and or Europeans, but there are Europeans there, so that's why it meets so early. And my friend said that she cannot attend that writing group anymore because if she starts that early, then she spends the whole day in front of the screen. And she's on the West Coast, so she's starting at 7 or 8 a.m. and she's like, I don't come out until 5 p.m. and I've been in one spot on the computer all day working on the notebook, whatever, working on the writing. And so anyway, the point being is to the Pomodoro method. I'm sure most people have heard of it.
Yes.
I love it. I
Yes.
taught it to my kid when he was starting, when he was probably 8 or 9. And it basically just means to have scheduled breaks. Mm-hmm. And you have to figure out for your own body. There are some recommendations, but I do believe we have to figure out for our own body how often we need to move and how much. But I'll be talking about some of those techniques in our book club. But I'm really eager to hear. So anyone who's seen this, please share in the comments, how do you keep yourself from being too static all day long? Or what will you do moving forward? Will you set a timer that you actually listen to? Because sometimes you set an alarm on your phone, but you hear it and you just keep going. You keep sitting. I don't know about you, but I do. I can really ignore. You can make different songs and stuff for certain kinds of timers. It doesn't have to be always the same sound. So don't use your text alert, because hopefully you're able to ignore your text alert, right? And you can put something, maybe dance music, maybe that Dua Lipa song. You put it on your phone, and so when the timer goes off, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, not more than 40 minutes, you get up and dance. And it reminds you to do that, just to move your body. I'm moving my hips right now. Let me think of what one of the other ones is. A lot of in every well-being practice in this book, Built to Move, and I think, did you post did you pin the thing? If you would pin the link to the book club in the comments, then people can find it. And also it's in my bio. So one of the things that they do so well in each chapter is they give you an assessment. So for the sitting one, all you do for the next few days or week is you log when you're sitting, because it is just an amazing, that's how you do any kind of thing. If you want to, do a diet or budget or whatever, you log what's real, so you're not in denial, right? And I think that's one of the most important ways that we can thrive better is to be aware of what we're doing in our lives now.
Mm-hmm.
So I I realized when I started standing up, did you know that people who stand and work fidget? So they actually move around more. Oh, another great practice they have in that chapter, in the sitting chapter, is
Mm-hmm.
to always stand when you're on the phone. So if you take a
Hmm.
phone call, if you just never let yourself stay sitting when you're on the phone, then you pace around a little bit. And I do that too. Did you know that when we're talking on the phone, I'm not just chillaxing.
I did not know
Wandering around
that.
my living room, like I'm not going far. I'm not going on. There's no reception at where I live, so I
Mm-hmm.
can't leave my house where the Wi-Fi is. So I just wander around the living room and the kitchen talking. And I finally got into AirPods, so I have
Mm-hmm.
wireless headsets, so I can leave my phone sitting somewhere and just wander
Not be
around.
tethered.
You're
Not be
tethered.
tethered like I am.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it took me a long time to make that adjustment.
Well,
So anyway, that's one chapter of the book. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say I'm excited about that because I have used the Pomodoro method, which is really about setting a timer so that I take at least 30-minute breaks. And I would get up, I have to go to the bathroom or I go get a water. I have a list of things that I will do in that time, and only those things. Because if I take on the break, if I make a sandwich or do something else, then, it leads to me not getting back to the desk.
Mm,
But when I'm in the zone, I forget to get up. I really just if I don't set a timer or anything, I forget, and then I'm cramped and back hurting the next day. But I want to say that I'm excited about this book and this book club because I think it will help me to be mindful. Some things that I already know or know of. And it's like
yeah,
we know the right things to do, but sometimes we forget. And so I'm really glad for this coming at this time right now. And I have a couple of projects coming up that I want to be more mindful
yeah,
of doing the things that we know that are effective for us, and we just forget them.
right,
And if you're like me, if you don't see it, it doesn't exist. So I have notes all over my house, my computer, everywhere to remind me.
right.
So
And I think you bring up a good point too. That if you're Pomodoroing, then you set a timer for getting back to work too. And
yes,
for those of us who are maybe a little scattered or might get too distracted by the kitchen, or for young people, they get distracted by the text and the social media. Maybe the old people too. But if you're working on a screen, your break can't be on screen.
right.
That's one of the issues. One of the things. Um, I think also I like to tell people to do some kind of habit bunching around hydration. So one of my well-being practices is that every time I turn on the computer or look at a screen, I take a drink, just a sip of water. That's all it really takes. I usually drink more once I start,
Mm-hmm.
but that is a great way to, just to bring yourself into your body more
Yes.
too. I'm going to say one more that's kind of interesting. I can't remember which chapter this is, but they have an exercise that they recommend that you just stand on one foot. And I'm a psychotherapist, right, folks? I'm not a physical therapist. I'm in no way a medical professional. We're just going to talk about what is in this book and see if it gives us the accountability that we need to make some healthier decisions. And this has been huge for me, is just to move more is the biggest one that I've taken so far. But you just stand on one foot and you just step forward with your other foot, and then you step around the clock. It's an old school clock. If you're young, did you know that clocks used to be round and they had numbers on them? I'm being a little facetious, but I was at a clinic at a conference this weekend, and she had a clock exercise, and she's like, "Some people don't know what that is." So anyway, I'm doing it now. I'm just standing on my left foot, and I'm taking my right foot around. And sometimes it crosses behind, sometimes it crosses in front. But I just put my toe out and I tap. I'm at 12, 1, 2, 3. You get the idea? I don't know if I can really
Mm-hmm.
see. Let me see if I can just do it in a way that you can see it. Can you see my feet?
Yes,
So just go 1. Can you see my feet, Shay?
yes, I can see your
Okay,
feet.
but tip it just a smidge more. How's that? There
Yes,
we go.
that's good.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a balance exercise. Maybe it's in the balance. 7, 8, 9, and you could totally hold on to the kitchen counter. 10, 11, 12, and then you do the other one. That's a simple practice that every single person who can stand can do. And it is, and then what's cool about this book is they give you the research about why it is so good. Like they tell you exactly, it's not just somebody's opinion. And I really value that when people have done the research, have looked into it on many different levels, and then they tell you, why is this important? What is the problem with Americans? Why are we this, that, and the other thing? And you discover it through this work with them. It's life-changing. Is that a simple exercise? Could you do that? Everybody who's hearing this, tell us too. Could you do that? The clock. Go ahead, Shay.
No, I was going to say, for me, I do have some issues with balance right now. So when you kept doing it with the same foot past 6 o'clock, I was thinking maybe I could get to 6 o'clock with the right, but with the other foot, and I thought I'd do it, finish up on the other side, because that looks really hard for me to kind of do the whole clock with the one leg.
But remember that you can have your hand on the kitchen counter.
Oh, that's true.
First of all.
That's true.
And you don't have to reach far. So here's what I have found about these practices. At first, they're really, really hard. And that's your assessment. You say, oh, I can handle like 11 to 3. And then I will just go through just a tiny little reach out with my foot to these other places while hanging onto the kitchen counter. If you do it every day for a week or two, you're going to experience improvement and change and balance. You saw I was wobbling. Maybe you couldn't see, you could only see my feet, but I was for sure wobbling. But sometimes I just do this when I'm waiting in line somewhere. A great way to do that one? And they don't have it as a clock. I adapted it. They have it as, I think you just do maybe 4 points or something. But I like to do the smaller ones. It's easier for me. When you're holding a grocery cart and you're waiting in line.
Yes.
Right? You could just stand there, and then if you're older like us, then your back starts cramping, your feet start cramping, your knees start cramping, it's just all sorts of things might start cramping. But instead, you can do it when you're standing in line at some store waiting to pay, or you're just standing there looking at something for a while, and you have the grocery cart in front of the shopping cart in front of you, and you have both hands on the handle. See how many you can do. So anyway, built to move. And the other thing I have to tell you is this book club is called the Move Your HSP Book Club. I made that name up as after Move Your Ass. I don't know if you can say that on Instagram, right? So it's the Move Your HSP Highly Sensitive Person, because that's my area of expertise. But remember, what's good for highly sensitive people is good for all people. So I don't care who you are out there. And I thought this was a good time to use this book for our first book club, because probably, I hate to say it, but I get caught up in that whole idea that it's a new year and I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to get a fresh start. And then it goes away. It's so frustrating. So I'm so glad you're going to join us. Thanks for being a part of it.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
We're going to record it, and then people can catch it if they can't attend the whole thing. But it's every Thursday at noon Eastern time, February 8th through March 7th. So the Move Your HSP Book Club every Thursday, starting a week from this coming Thursday, I think, which is February 8th at noon Eastern time. So I thought at least the Eastern time folks, which is a huge part of the U.S., would be able to do it on their lunch break if they're at work. And so it'll be, through the morning for people in the rest of the country. And it's going to be I said 55 minutes. So we are not going over. And if a lot of people come, we'll go into small groups to talk about it. And
that's a great idea.
The way I see book clubs is that we should just be sharing our experiences and our thoughts. And you know what also happens when you do that? You make friends and contacts, and, you feel seen and not alone. And I just sent an email on Monday, or I can't remember actually when I sent it. I think it was on Monday, where I said, all things odious are better when done in company with others. So if you find that it's hard to work on well-being, then come and do it with us, because it'll just feel better, and you won't be isolated either. So Thanks for coming. Any questions? Did I miss any questions? I have a very hard time looking at the comments when I'm talking.
I
If
don't think
you're
so.
new here, be sure and go in and just put move in the comments in any of my posts on my grid, and we will send you the link to the book club.
Oh, I do have a comment, and I know you
Yes.
meant you addressed it already in the information about the book club, but I'm a advocate for libraries and librarians, and so make sure you all have your library card, and you can get the book digitally. You can listen to it, or you can get it to read on your devices. But make sure that there's an instead of if you don't want to get the book or you don't have time to order it, check out your local library, with your digital
Absolutely.
library card.
Absolutely. That's how I listen to it.
Mhm.
And I've literally checked it out 3 times. And so it's such a great way to do it. And the audiobook is lovely because Kelly and Juliet read it. They alternate chapters. I love when the author reads the book on audiobooks.
Mhm.
So they also have a YouTube channel, I think. And so you can find out about them all over the place. But this book, I feel like Kelly is the physical therapist, and he's kind of radical in the physical therapy world, a little out there, but
Mhm.
um, that's okay. And I'm a big follower of that style of physical therapy. And this book was written by the two of them together. It's for the average person. It's not for the PT nerds necessarily. It's not for the jocks, and it's so accessible. And trust me, I'm like if I tried to run down the block right now, it would probably fall on my face. I'm so uncoordinated. So I just want to be healthy, and I want everybody else to be healthy too. And if you don't move the chemicals that cause anxiety. You don't move the trauma, your childhood trauma through your body. You have to move your body to be healthy in terms of mental health. And that's why me, family therapist, is having a Move Your HSP Built to Move book club. So I hope you'll all join us. Thanks so much for tuning in today. See y'all soon.
Thanks, Elaine.
Bye.
Bye bye.